park ballot was a typo because
Yeah, it is.
it looks like you had all of these in the election ballot languages.
Okay, my motion now has changed to adopt the park ballot language and send it to legal for inspection for 4 years, not 20. And that, I made that motion and Freeman seconded it.
Yes, and the second and again.
Any discussion on 4 years at $0.25 for the park and recreation and parks?
I want to see a final draft before these people pay legal to take a look at this. I don't just say, all right, we're gonna change that, because people did address the fact that 20 years was on there, and they addressed it at their last regular meeting, and then it's back on here. So I would need to see a final draft with 4 years on it before I would want any of us to pay legal to take a look at it.
Saying it's back on here is inaccurate, because the last time it wasn't on the agenda, it was simply homework for people to look at. It was not on the agenda, it was not discussed.
It was.
So this, no, it was not, except by one person during public comment, and it was not on the agenda and it was not discussed.
Okay,
Now it's on the agenda and it's being discussed, and it's being discussed at 4 years instead of 20, and I've made the motion, Ms. Freeman has seconded it, so it's time we voted.
Thank you for the
It was
clarification.
discussed,
And
then it
that will
annoyed
be
people, but go right
through
ahead, say whatever you want.
2024. Correct? Yes,
Yeah.
instead of 2040. Okay. And the numbers are relatively close to being.
It's a roll call, right?
Correct. If there's no more discussion.
Okay, Kaiser,
No,
Klein,
No.
Supervisor,
Yes.
Clerk, yes. Treasurer,
Yes.
Okay. I don't know which order you have your stuff in, but if you want to keep going.
well, we have the cemetery ballot language, and apparently it's too long, so my motion will be to change that also to 4 years and send it to legal to inspect instead of 20.
Second it.
Okay, supporting, I'm sorry, a motion and a second to support the, I'm in the wrong one. They're all stapled together.
not agree with the
Cemetery.
send rough draft, period.
For the cemetery.
I don't wanna send rough drafts to the attorney, because then there's a chance that after we finalize it, we're gonna send it back for review again.
Yeah, well, that's why the rough draft is, that's why I'm crossing off and putting 24, so I have a rough draft. And it's something that we've gotten to work on. I get it, and I appreciate you going through the
How
effort
how
of
much
making it look
is
like.
my motion, somebody wants my motion amended?
No,
No, oh, okay, I thought Rick did.
No, I just plain don't wanna send rough drafts to legal. I think we should send a finished product for review. Instead of sending a rough draft, can make the changes and then send the final product, and then probably still have to make changes before
No.
we can do anything with it.
Isn't this why we're discussing it, so we can make changes now to make it
right,
Yeah.
final?
right.
And then
This is
send
not
it
a
to
final
legal.
draft, that's the
Well,
point.
it's supported
is-
now for 4 years.
It's
You're
final.
telling them you're gonna do something, how do they know?
It'll be final, and when it, and the attorney will look at it to make sure it's okay, and
Right.
he'll.
When we do the changes in this
Yeah.
with everybody, the board
Yeah,
directing,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then we send the final.
Doesn't have to go there twice.
No.
Okay. Any more discussion on the cemetery ballot language? 4 years instead of 20.
Okay, Kaiser,
Absolutely not.
Klein,
No.
Supervisor,
Yes.
Clerk, yes. Treasurer,
Yes.
People can simply pull the go button and tell us what they want. This is just a question. We're not forcing anything on anybody.
Well, I understand that.
Uh,
I just don't understand why we need to send these to legal.
Motion passed. Basically because they're restricted funds, and we want to make sure the restrictions are legal and we follow the legal guidelines of the restrictions, because they're not tax millage.
So if I, rather than researching those restrictions, we're gonna send 4 of these, 5 of them, 4 of them to legal at a cost for each individual one, rather than finding out the restrictions. We don't have a better resource that when it costs the money to do that?
The clerk at the county has assisted us in the past with our ballot language. I don't know if she'd be willing to do that again, but we can possibly look for some other ballot language.
Previously,
I'll ask her that before we send it to
Before
legal.
we send it.
in the administration before this, they would help us. Or the clerk knew how to do it before this administration. And we didn't have to pay all this money to an attorney. That's what the point is at this point. So, till we even know what we're doing, then let's not be sending things and costing all of us money.
I mean, that's the other thing too, does anybody know what the cost is of having this document reviewed?
But I will ask Cheryl to review it first. I'm 99% sure these are all okay, but I don't like to, I don't like to leave things out there that are wrong, and there's at least a 1% chance I figure that it's wrong. So, I don't know, yeah, but I'll ask Cheryl before we send it to the attorney, if we vote to send it to the attorney.
She's
Because
very
she should-
good,
Because she should know.
and she knows.
Okay.
Okay, we're on road language.
Yep.
Wait a minute.
I think this should be a little longer than 4 years, but I'm not saying it should be 20. But I'm saying I think it should be a little longer than 4, because we know that roads are never gonna go away. I mean, they're gonna need roads 50 years from now. So, I don't see any point in making people vote more times than they need to get a road millage, but I'm more than willing to accept 4 years if that's what you want.
The reason it needs to be revisited frequently is, as I said, we typically do not have a committee and take input from the people and work with the county. Either the board decides, well, we're gonna do that road, or somebody comes with a proposal for their street. Well, that's the only one you have, so then you're gonna do that. And if we're annoying people and never getting to them, if we keep it to 4 years, then they can come back here and say, look, this money we pay these taxes too. And we need to move these road improvements around so everyone gets a fair chance to have their road done. And we need to work a little harder on establishing a citizens committee and involving, and have the county with us, because we split. Your millage is a match for the county, all right? And we would match their money so that we can get our roads done quicker. It's not a state law, but you pay a millage, so our roads get done faster.
It's usually 60.
And you should be involved in this process. And if you say, okay, for 10 years, this board is not gonna involve you, and we're just gonna spend your money wherever we feel like it, or I think that road needs done, and then we decide, oh no, that road needs to be done. I'm trying to address you, Mr. Wojcik.
I don't know the answer to this, so I'd like to ask the chair. Doesn't the board vote on each project, where it's gonna be and when and stuff like that?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not like one person is making a decision on these road things, right?
Correct.
Okay, so that means, in other words, that we should advertise in the paper for people to put in proposals for what they want, what roads they want fixed, and then they should come and they should tell us, and we should talk about it and make our decision. Isn't that what we should do?
Normally, but we have to work with the county road commission. We
Yeah, of
normally
course.
we normally pay 60%, and the county does 40 normally. And the making roads or developing roads is extremely expensive, so there's only a small section that can be done at any point in time, even with one mill. If we wanted to do a lot, we would have to be getting a lot more. And not only that, but the county road commission really can't do more than probably 1 mill's worth of projects in a year without having to hire more and then having that fluctuation of not having it in the next year. So 1 mill seems to be really good for the county and the township. It seems to work very well, that they can get projects scaled in, working all over the county with the township's contracts. The current road project that we have pending was brought to the board by the county. Because we normally ask the public, but this time we asked the county which one of their roads causes them the most grief on their equipment. So we're kind of working with them also, because they do the snow plowing and the road work.
But the whole board voted on that.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I wanted to be sure of.
So we
Didn't
we
they-
do solicit input.
Didn't they bring us like 4 roads from the county? They brought us a paper of 4 different roads
Correct.
that they brought to us from the county. So it
Correct.
wasn't just
But
one
this
road,
was-
it was 4 roads that they brought that they said needed to be done.
But this was,
Okay.
they recommended as a priority.
Okay,
But
That
However,
we have.
if
But
this
anyway.
if only this board decides, okay, now we're gonna do this little piece of, road that runs behind Cheddar's over here and down off 32. That's what this board decided to do. However, people were asking to have this section where you turn left here and go this way, have that road improved. That's what people wanted. That's why that I want people involved in this decision, okay? Because, oh, sure, the board talks about it, and we just pick a road. But how about them? They're paying, and will they continue to pay these road millages if we never get to their road? That's my problem. And sure, this board discusses it. Hey, one citizen brought a package, and he knew we had a millage, and he was the only guy that did it, so he gets this little stretch of road done that year. Well, okay, but did anybody else know to, prepare that, get signatures and do that? No. So the road says, well, you're here, we'll do that. That's my problem with this. And this board discussing it is not enough. Not enough.
Yeah, I can appreciate that, Nancy. These millages won't be collected until after the election, and the next board will be able to use these funds. This isn't anything that this current board and this current term will be using or delegating in any way, shape, or form.
I'm aware of that. But we should set a precedence here of involving the community, all right?
Okay.
okay, I'm gonna make a motion, we adopt the road language
That's 4 years.
millage renewal for 6 years. Hopefully that's a way that more people can agree with it. And why would we put up I don't like putting up a lot of millages at a time, but what we got here is basically
Gotcha.
So I'll put 6 years for
I understand.
my
that.
motion.
Wouldn't 8 make more sense, cause then it covers the next election?
Well,
it
there's
could, but-
elections every 2 years, and you won't have all of these up for
Okay.
renewal at the same time, is what I'd say.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Second,
I'll second that.
okay. Kaiser,
No,
Klein,
No.
Supervisor,
Yes.
Clerk, yes. Treasurer,
Yes.
Okay, motion passed.
I want to say something else about this. I think everybody knows that we told the citizens that we would have this up on the next election. But after I started thinking about this, I thought maybe we should put 2 of them on, one for recreational marijuana and one for medical marijuana. That way, if people thought medical was a good idea, but they thought recreation wasn't, or vice versa, or however, they could vote on both. So, but I only have one thing here for us to look at. And that's recreational marijuana. And so I'll make a motion that we put recreational marijuana on the ballot. And then,
Okay, because I believe, and don't take me to task on this, I believe recreational is the age of 21.
yep,
And that's on here.
Yep.
And I believe the medical is 18. And
Yes.
so that's, so it would probably be better to split.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
All right, I have this to say about it. Recreational and medical marijuana is legal in the state of Michigan, okay? Now, we can't stop anybody from having those things in this township. Now, you did opt out of having facilities here, therefore you will get no tax revenue from any of that. But you cannot stop it from being here. So what is our opinion about here? Both are legal in this state, whether we like it or not. So what input are we purporting to have here?
This is for establishments, for facilities.
You opted out of having them in the downtown area.
Correct, and when we did that, we told the public that we would put it on the next ballot should the sentiments change coming down the pipe. And this is
Okay.
the next
so the
ballot.
people could
Okay.
decide.
Sure, that's nice. But have you approached the state? Is it possible for us to opt back in and now allow these people to be here?
Yes,
It is.
at any point in time.
Okay, that's good information. And are we gonna go through the whole scenario again and tell these people where they can have their shops? You can't be there, you can be over here.
I'd say that was up to the planning commission. I'm not, I mean, they're gonna have to adjust the zoning ordinance accordingly if it passes.
There's nothing that would stop anybody from putting it where they want, as long as the
Yeah,
business
right.
was properly,
yeah.
you know.
Unless the planning commission zones it out of some particular place, but otherwise they can put it wherever they want.
Override that
Which,
anyway,
which did
even if they
happen
do.
to Jim McCormick when he had a very secure shop downtown. He was zoned out. That's why that business is boarded up here. And every indicator in this state said recreational would be legal. But you're worried about him being in town close to the park and there's a bar there and a bar there and a bar there. So what's worse? But, all right, so you zoned him out. So we have an empty business.
When you say you zoned him out,
Oh, yeah.
when you say that, I didn't zone him out.
Uh,
Rick didn't zone him out. I don't think that Bruno or Mary zoned him out. If he was zoned out, it was the planning commission that zoned him out. But I know I didn't zone him out,
The
so you
board
shouldn't say
approved.
you in a manner in which it implies that we were the people that zoned him out, because we weren't.
This board did, because that planning commission comes to this board for approval, all right? And there was undue influence to that board at that time. But this board approves and has their say as to whether we pass these things. So we do not say the planning commission did that, because this board has the final say.
Rick
That's
and
why,
I
just-
that is why,
Please,
I'm not
no
done.
crosstalk.
That is why Rick gets one vote, either on the planning commission or here.
Well,
But
Rick and
we decide.
Rick and I are not among the you. Maybe other people are among the you, but when you say you include all of us. And Rick and I are definitely not in the you.
Can I, I'd
So
like,
Does that matter?
can I, please?
Yeah, it does
I'd
matter.
like some order. I'm gonna talk. I don't wanna get into a three-way. If I can provide some clarity, after the election where the recreational marijuana was on the ballot, Briley Township did not pass that within the township. The votes were fairly high against it. It wasn't extremely out of bed, and the sentiment may have changed between now and then, since some of the other cities around us are opting in. Maybe some of the people that voted no may have changed their minds. Maybe some of the people that voted yes may have changed their minds. So the sentiment may have changed. But at that time, when the ballots came in, this township was mostly against it. So the board opted out at that time. It had nothing to do with zoning or the planning commission. This board opted out after that election. Now, at that time, we said we would put it on the ballot to see if the public sentiment changes. When it gets 51% or 50.1% or 50.01% for, the board will do what the public wants. At that time, they did not want it, so we're putting it on the ballot as we promised. That's why this is here. Ed has a valid point that one may pass faster than another, and even if one is allowed and one's disallowed, in the future that can change also, because it can always be allowed. Other boards can bring it in.
This board, the board president at that time did change the zoning, so Mr. Jim McCormick was zoned out of his legal medical marijuana building. That's my point here, and I don't wanna discuss this anymore.
Okay,
I don't want to challenge you, but I don't see anywhere in our zoning ordinance where it discounts medical marijuana of any sort.
Oh, my word.
okay,
You
Kaiser,
don't recall that,
I'll bring you the active zoning ordinance.
are you telling me that Jim McCormick closed his business and left here after putting all that money into that building, setting up a fantastic security system on his own? No, I was at the meetings where he was zoned out of his building, and I'm done talking about it. Period.
okay,
I thought he was
Kaiser,
put out of business by the police.
No,
Okay, no, I'm
they
sorry.
investigated him.
I'm sorry, I gotta maintain control.
Okay,
Everybody-
maintain
Kaiser?
order, that's
everybody
enough.
wants control.
Kaiser,
No,
Klein,
Yes.
Two separate ones,
Supervisor,
yes.
Clerk, yes, Treasurer,
Yes.
I have to ask you, Mr. Clerk, are we gonna have time to review the ballot language before you have to submit it as the
oh,
board?
absolutely,
Okay, thank you.
absolutely. And it says on here that it says on our agenda that we're doing marijuana things. And I'd like to add to that we put it's not here, I don't have a draft, but I'd like to put on there that we also put medical marijuana on
Yeah, that's,
the ballot. I think that that's a good idea, but you know, whatever you think. But I'll make a motion.
I
that we
thought
put-
that was your motion to have two separate ones.
yeah, I thought you
Okay.
already added
Yeah.
that.
Okay, I already added that then.
Yeah.
Okay, this is
Go ahead.
both then.
Change your,
Okay.
change your minutes, because that's what I voted on.
Okay, good enough, good enough.
Yeah.
I thought it was,
Okay, I'll make a motion. We send Carl Cadwaller's letter to the governor.
I'll support the motion.
Okay, we need to
I would
talk.
ask that you actually explain it so that people understand why you're gonna send a letter.
Mr. Cadwallader has requested letters of support from communities and establishments and businesses within Montmorency County, and possibly outside of Montmorency, so that he can apply for a grant, a federal grant, I believe, through the state,